Welcome back to the Flow Fluently Dance Training Program featuring Mike and Diana discover their flow. Exercise number 5, partnership connection. Here Mike and Diana are learning how to connect with each other so they can move and dance with each other fluidly. And with this process, we always start visually. We're using our eyes. Ideally, every exercise that we do, every new move we learn, starts with visual lead and follow. We do visually because we learn how to move with our partner and not become dependent on our partner. We learn how to move independently with our partner. As a lead, we're not pulling or pushing our partner. As a follow, we're not forcing them to pull us around. So Diana's starting with the lead. And we're sticking to forwards and backwards and side to side. Simple movement that's easy to communicate. As a lead, you want to be as predictable as possible. I call it articulating your movement. Move with intention. As a follow, you want to actively move with your partner, but you want to enjoy yourself. You're dancing still. Enjoy your movement. Don't be so focused, hyper-focused on doing what your lead tells you. You'll feel that through your eyes. Now we're introducing the frame tool. The frame tool creates structure. We need structure to move fluidly with each other. We want our spines communicating. Our spines are communicating through the structure. So we both move our entire body, spine included. The more we do that, the more we'll feel it. So I'm using the floor to move, I'm energizing through the floor, and I'm treating the frame tool like a shopping cart, pushing it around. So I'm feeling my arms moving, I'm keeping my poise, tail behind me. All right, Diana's leading now. She's practicing moving the shopping cart, and Mike is actively moving with her. Now Mike's leading, changing roles back and forth, super healthy and keeping the balance and feeling both sides of the partnership. So when you train, keep changing roles. So instead of just moving our legs, Mike's doing a little bit of just leg movement. We want to feel our spine moving. We want to feel our legs powering our movement. Doing this with your eyes closed. Super helpful. It forces you to feel it. Now we're recreating our own structure. So we want to recreate that frame tool with our bodies, with our frame. Frame, we poise our bodies, and we develop frame through our spine and out our arms. We want to feel our chest muscle, our back muscle, I call them the wing muscles working. We don't want to feel our arms or shoulders working. We want to set our arms and use our wings. Otherwise, the shoulders get tired. If your shoulders are getting tired, it's because you're not using your wing muscles. You're using your arms. So I call this connection, wherever we're touching each other, it's like a connection. So I call this connection, I call it tree hugger. Imagine yourselves holding a tree. You're hugging a tree. And right now the tree is between them. So Mike's leading. He's moving the tree. Diana's following. She's moving the tree. The tree hugger is great because it's stability. It's got a lot of connection. The more we touch each other, the stronger our connection is. So if you're dancing or you're moving with your partner and you find it challenging time communicating, the tree huggers are a great way to really feel each other. I recommend you do this with your eyes closed as well. Close your eyes. Allow yourself to feel it. Take away the distractions around you. You'll find it becomes much easier to focus on what is important when you are feeling it with your eyes closed. Diana's leading. She wants to feel her whole body moving. She's directing. She's moving the connection, which Mike is feeling. The bigger Mike moves, the more he can feel it. As a follow, the bigger we move, the more reactive we are because we're feeling it right there with the lead. When we move, tiny movement, it's timid, it's hard to feel, and we start thinking about what's happening. Big movement, we're right there, we act instinctively, and it's much more fun. So giant movement is a follow. Now we're learning how to change our connection points. A connection point is where we're touching each other. Our whole body can be connection points. We're learning how to change our connection points as we move with a partner. The goal is to move with our partner regardless of our connection points. So I'm leading Diana. As we move, we change our connection points. We don't force it, we don't stop and move. We keep the flow, the energy going, and we change our connection points as we do it. We can do our shoulders, we can do our hands, we can do our elbows, we can do our waist. We can do wherever we feel like it. So when you practice at home, play with your connection points. Have fun with it. Not too much fun, but a lot of fun. A good amount of fun with where you can lead and follow from. You can do it visually as well. Use visual as a connection point. Feel through your eyes. Now we're doing it together. I like to start with the tree hugger because we are much stronger connected. It's easier to lead and follow that way. And then once you're feeling the connection, you're feeling the movement feels good, you can start changing your connection points. You can do a nose just like Mike did. But remember not to rush into it. Take your time, breathe, feel your movement, feel your partnership. And then play with your connection points. It's great practice to always change your connection points as you dance, regardless of what you're doing, because you don't want to become too focused and too dependent on a particular connection point that will inhibit your ability to create and move freely with each other. So every exercise, every new thing you learn, we're going to change those connection points. You're going to start with the structured, so you feel what you're doing, and then we're going to move on to connection point change. Diana's up. Take your time. We want to be poised before we move. We want our legs together, and then we can move to the best of our ability. Nice clear movement, you guys. Forwards, backwards, and side. It looks good. With this exercise, you're probably going to step on each other, get on the wrong feet, but priority number one here, we're learning how to move with each other. We will fix that later in your training. I recommend you use music or no music. I recommend you use music that doesn't get in the way. We want to be moving with each other. That's a priority, not to the music. So I actually recommend you start without music and just learn how to move together without music, and you take your time and feel it. And then once you feel it, you can add music, but music really isn't important for this exercise.
I think looking at the eyes is probably the easiest. I mean, as soon as, for me at least, starting to think about like moving together and making sure, you know, like my eyes are open and we're moving together, like we're starting to dance, you know, we're starting to dance together. So we had been doing things separately, but now we're starting to combine them.
I think that combining like not touching and the practice we were doing with going with the beat was a good transition for us to then now touch each other, because I think it would have been too aggressive if we were like on our own doing our own beat and then being like we have to do a beat with somebody.
Yeah, it slows you down because you're still thinking about moving to the music or to a beat. And so as a lead or as a follower, you kind of like take in that. It's like, all right, this is how we're moving.
Yeah.
I think it like gives you that structure. So you, like what I seem to forget always is like, you got to be strong and it's coming from your spine. And so like if I'm leading you, like I need to actually lead you.
And I realized that if my arms are sore, I'm doing the right thing. Like my structure is wide enough and I'm creating enough presence that I'm able to move somebody else as well as myself.
That was challenging. Not in the sense that, you know, it's like actually a hard thing to do. I think it's just you both want to move together in the right way, and it's sometimes if you're not being so direct or predictable with your movements, it's hard for your partner to react the right way. And so you kind of stumble or you forget to
Yeah.
move. Yeah.
Helps us try and figure out how to read each other. Changing connection points as we're moving, I thought was pretty playful. Right in the forehead. But it also was able to Mike's point, help us figure out how each of us are moving because we're obviously going to change connection points once we're actually partnering throughout the whole song and touching each other throughout the whole song. So learning how this movement feels different than maybe this movement or whatever. I think the frame tool also teaches us to create some space between each other, because if we're basically like on top of each other, then we aren't able to read each other as well, and the translation gets lost. So we need something to practice with that allows us to keep that space.
Yeah, it's like an actual practice in like leading or following. Like if we're that close, it's someone just like kind of throwing you around, It's not really, I would say, it's dancing.
Learning the dancing communication.
Hashtag, let's get this world dancing. We're gonna get everybody physically connected, feeling, and dancing with each other. Because it's so much fun and it feels so good.